go.
All right, well, let's pick this morning. We go to the west side and take a look at one of our jam cams this morning. You can see just how much the rain is coming down. That's Park 10 Boulevard at the Katy Freeway, way out there on the west side. People still going in through the rain, not much ponding so far. So let's get the full traffic picture from Don Nelson. Don?
Well, you know, I'll show you that it's best when you see these graphics and all of this, you like to see what it looks like live. So I'm going to just take you on a little tour here, and we'll start here. This is a TransStar Jam Cam, give you a live look. Here's Southwest Freeway, Jerry Ashford. So far, that part of town not affected. As we start to move north, here's 290 at Gessner coming inbound west, so that's already now getting real close in. Katy Freeway you saw there, and here's the Tomball Parkway at Gessner. Active rain showers there. We push over to the North Freeway, and you'll start to see things well inside. Here's Spring Stubner now, so well inside beyond the Woodlands coming in closer to the Houston area. As we take a look, well, let's move over, and here's the East Tex at Aldine Mound. Now, dry, but getting ready to get wet here shortly. As Travis has mentioned, there will be an active line of storms there within an hour or so. So there's Louder Road right there. So those are the current things. No accidents right now, but if you do have to travel, as we've been mentioning, and Tom Abrams mentioned, the water ponding in some areas and it gets low, and it doesn't take a lot to flood your car out. That's the last thing you want. Here's the Katy out at Highway 6. You can see how sloppy that is out there in both directions. You can see the rain starting to get a little accumulation there as we continue to see those showers. So we'll keep an eye on all that. Check it again in a few minutes.
You know, Don, it's always like the tale of two cities when we get a big storm like this. If you're on the west side and you're in blinding rain,
right, exactly.
You think, when is this ever going to stop? You look to the east side and people are like, what rain? What storm?
Right. What's
yeah, that's been we've had that happen several times. And as a matter of fact, and then it'll start to clear rapidly behind it.
Right.
And then you got this horrible edge that's coming through from the northwest to the southeast. So the Gulf Freeway, of course, has also been getting some rain showers just from all that activity pulling it up from the Gulf. So you've had rain already on that southeast side. So,
yeah.
But so far everyone has heeded the warning, and that's always great to hear. And most people are only if they have to travel. The main freeways so far are giving everyone a break. But this weather is very unforgiving in most cases. So.
Yeah, just to remind people, we were talking about the Katy Freeway at Highway 6, and that's a very low-lying area. That area tends to flood when we get a lot of rain. We've all been out there when we've had a big amount of rain in a short period of time, and sometimes it is impassable. This is a live picture there. As you can see, the feeder road really reflecting the bushes there, so that indicates that there's quite a bit of water there. And meteorologist Casey Curry is going to tell us what's coming up next.
And Casey, the radar, as we've been watching it all morning long, seem to be moving obviously to the north and to the east, but just kind of skirting the outside of Houston. Now it's obviously going to move a little more to the east our way, right?
Well, the line was just kind of diagonal in a sense. It just wasn't a straight up and down vertical line from strictly north to south. You're right, it had a little bit of a tilt to it. Right. So we're a little slower to see the action than folks do north of us along 45. You're right, like areas like Huntsville, New Waverly, Conroe, the Woodlands, they certainly got it first. But again, kind of a diagonal line here. So let's show you exactly what's going on. We still have a couple of areas seeing severe thunderstorm warnings out there this morning. The ones that are north of Houston, those stay in effect for another 15 minutes or so. So we're continuing to watch those. But as we've been talking about, we're seeing a little bit of a shift in the severity of our storms from the north, where all of our tornadic activity has been, to now areas south and west of Houston. Not a complete surprise. And you'll remember the entire area is under a tornado watch until 11 o'clock this morning. So the yellow flashing boxes that you're seeing here on Live Mega Doppler 13 HD, those are the severe thunderstorm warnings, and they extend even well north past our viewing area, just to north of Lufkin this morning. So here's our severe line of storms stretching again off to the west here of Lufkin, down across 287 between Corrigan and Crockett, and down towards Lake Livingston. In fact, pretty much right on top of Lake Livingston this morning. This line of severe thunderstorms extends down almost to Cleveland and down into the Conroe area this morning. Now we'll take you to our other severe thunderstorm warning. This is in effect until 10:30 this morning. We're continuing to watch this one. This is primarily for parts of Fort Bend and Wharton counties, and you'll see that this is generating a lot of lightning strikes. And the way you can tell that is these bright white dots that are kind of flashing on the radar. Those are indicators of the lightning strikes that we're seeing. So you folks in Sugar Land, Rosenberg, Needville, Richmond, down towards Wharton, you have not seen the worst of it yet. All of it is pushing off generally to the east at about 35 miles per hour. I'm going to widen the view out a little bit here so you can get some perspective on exactly what Tom Cook was just talking about, how this line is not straight up and down north and south. It really is traveling a little ahead of itself on the north end of this system, but dangerous lightning has been a hallmark of this system, and we certainly can look at the lightning to kind of give us an indicator of some of those stronger thunderstorms. You'll notice that we do have close to 400 strikes just in the last few minutes, and it extends along the strongest part of the storm, the squall line stretching from just almost to Lufkin down through Lake Livingston, crossing 45 around the Conroe area, kind of curving back into about that kind of northwestern, almost third here of Harris County, across I-10 and down into Wharton and Fort Bend counties, and then extending all the way down towards Matagorda Bay this morning. You can see that general motion off to the east at about 30-35 miles per hour, so quick movement. So far, the flooding hasn't been a major problem for most locations. However, we are picking up a very quick 3.5 inches in some spots. So we do have urban and small stream flood advisories in effect for much of our western communities, and even some flash flood warnings in place. Again, the flashing boxes that you see are the various warnings that are out. The yellow boxes, those are your severe thunderstorm warnings that are in effect. Now they extend from Lufkin through Livingston back down towards Conroe. And again, they're kind of traveling along with this line of storms. We pretty much know with the history of this that it's going to produce not only the dangerous lightning, the possibility of some hail, but really those damaging winds and the possibility of rotating storms as well. So it's kind of an alert to you folks that as this storm pushes to the east, you will likely experience that same kind of severe weather. We've also got some flashing boxes, or we have, those have just expired now in the LaGrange area. Those were flash flood warnings that were in place, so we'll continue to watch those for those locations that have picked up a ton of rain so far today and are likely experiencing at least some urban flooding. So we'll take you first to the north end of this system, at least across our viewing area. This extends all the way north into North Texas this morning. Lufkin, you're about to see some rough weather. Centerville, you've just had some strong thunderstorms move through your area. Sliding down towards 287, Wakefield, Corrigan, Moscow, Livingston. You're all about to see these storms move in. They do look a little weaker now than they did probably an hour or so ago. We were talking more about even rotation and tornadic storms. It doesn't mean that's out of the question. Anytime you've got severe thunderstorm warnings going, you pretty much know that these thunderstorms are capable of producing a tornado kind of without warning. And especially since these have a history of rotation and even possibly the history of actual tornadoes. We've had several eyewitness reports of funnel clouds and tornadoes across southeast Texas this morning so far. So it really would not be that out of the question, even though these cells look like they've weakened quite a bit. Heavy rain in Cold Spring, but again, you folks in Livingston, Shepherd, Cleveland, so about to cross 59 in the next few minutes. So if you folks live up in this region, still seeing very heavy rain in New Waverly through Conroe, down into the Woodlands this morning. You folks in Splendora, again, you're about to get super wet and lots of wind and lightning. We've heard from a lot of our folks that we are seeing very strong winds first, then the lightning and the thunder, and then you're getting that very heavy rain. Now we'll take you over on the northwest side of town. We're seeing some very rough storms here. Tomball, Magnolia, Cypress, Jersey Village, really getting rocked with storms right now. We're probably seeing it come down at a very heavy rate of rain, lots of lightning and thunder, damaging winds. And this extends out I-10 towards Katy, towards the Cypress area, out towards the Columbus area, Sealy as well. So as we slide down a little further, this gets you back into your severe thunderstorm warning that's in effect for parts of Wharton, parts of Fort Bend County. And you can see that if you've got travel that takes you along 90, down 59, all of these locations are going to be very rough over the next little bit. And again, we're talking very heavy populated areas like Rosenberg, Richmond, Sugar Land, Needville, into the city of Wharton. All of these locations about to be really under the gun. As we slide even further, because again, this line goes all the way down to the coastline. We're talking areas of Matagorda Bay, Palacios, Blessing, Port Lavaca, Port O'Connor, Victoria. You have now gotten a break from the rain. So here's a look at the big picture. Seeing temperatures in the 70s, warm, moist air mass, plenty of moisture, plenty of heat, plenty of energy for these storms to work with. And that's part of our issue today. So we've got all of this moisture feeding in from the Gulf, a good, strong southerly flow that's helping to feed these storms, also providing that low-level wind shear, may get us some additional rotation as well. And wind has been a huge issue for us. These are your sustained wind speeds. So you're looking at sustained winds, not even thunderstorm winds, of anywhere from 15 to 25 miles per hour across the area. So super strong wind speeds. And again, we had those damaging winds well ahead of our thunderstorms early this morning. Lots of damage. As many of you know, we started off without power, about 32,000 people without power this morning. Now we've got that number down, I believe, less than 5,000 now. So great improvement there. Again, just a reminder that the dangerous lightning is another one of these threats. One more reason you don't want to be outside. And just a reminder, when you do get these storms coming through that are super severe, best idea is to keep it inside till all of this passes. And again, they're moving so quickly that this really won't take a huge chunk out of your day. We're talking just keep yourself nice and safe till all of this passes. And even in the locations well to the west of us, parts of the hill country, central parts of the state that saw the storms very early this morning, they are getting relief from their flooding pretty quickly as well. So if you can just hang tight when these storms are headed your direction and then they move on through, we're talking about a pretty quick pace here. So that at least is some good news this morning. Back to you.
All right, Casey, we have on the phone right now Ricky Baker with the Office of Emergency Management in Brenham, where we're hearing several reports of damage there to some structures and some problems because of downed trees. What are you seeing right now this morning, Ricky?
That we have had. We've had quite a few downed trees that took out power lines. We still have several hundred people here in town that are without power. Out in the county, where Blue Barn Electric has told us is about 1,000 people that are out. We have had quite a bit of damage here in town with some awnings and things that have been blown off of some buildings and a lot of debris that was blown around. Out in the county, we're getting more reports of a lot of barns that have been damaged or flattened. So we did have some pretty good winds that came through. And as it's getting lighter, we're getting more and more reports of some of the damage that has happened out there. But nobody has gotten hurt. That's the great thing.
That's the million-dollar question. Everybody taking cover. In fact, we're hearing from some of our viewers about their houses actually shaking when they felt this wind come through. One mother saying she grabbed her daughter and took cover because she saw that this storm was headed her way. That's certainly the message that you all are trying to spread this morning.
Exactly, and we've heard that report from several people too, that their house shook more this time than they've ever had any winds come through. So it was a pretty harrowing experience for a lot of folks.
Now, I know you're watching the radar just like we are, and it looks like you're just about over the worst of it right now. Brenham seems to be just in the green with light rain. Still falling there?
We still have some rain coming down pretty good right now, and we need the rain, so we're not complaining about that, but we sure don't need those winds that came with it earlier today.
No,
so based on what you're seeing, Ricky, this is headed kind of toward the Lufkin area, so people who might live closer to that area may be seeing heavier rain than you are right now.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
What's the worst of the damage so far? Just to the barns, as you said, that have been knocked down?
I would say probably so. We haven't gotten any reports here in town that there are trees have fallen on homes or anything. Okay. At least we haven't heard that yet. I mean, we do have some power lines down, quite a few of those, and the electric department is out working real hard and heavy to get all that back going. But probably the barns is going to be the worst that we've heard of so far.
So the wind is primarily the source of damage there, not the water so far.
Right. We haven't. There's a couple low water crossings where the water is starting to come up, but it's not. It shouldn't be a huge issue. At least we're not expecting it to, because it goes down pretty fast.
And you mentioned those power lines being down. Of course, everyone should assume that those are live and keep their distance from those.
Yes, ma'am. And that was interesting this morning, because it was right when all the school buses were running, so we had a lot of school buses out, a lot of people turning around. People were doing the right thing when they saw lines down. They were backing up, and so everybody did a good job, and that's why nobody's gotten hurt so far.
All right, Ricky Baker, the Office of Emergency Management in Brenham, thank you. And if you get an update on damage or hear of anything else, please get back to us. We'd certainly...
We sure will.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Baker. And we go to Garden Oaks area. We showed you that earlier this morning. One tree down in the Garden Oaks area in the middle of the street, and it appears it's still there this morning. Somebody just sent us this picture in. There'll be a few chainsaws that'll be fired up this afternoon in the Garden Oaks area and elsewhere around the city. As we said, there were so many trees stressed by the drought that will come down in a storm like this easily. And as you heard Samika Knight report earlier, rain in the Prairie View area. We have some photos of that from our viewers. If you're seeing something like this, this is in the Prairie View area, heavy rain there on Highway 290 near Prairie View. Just almost too difficult to see what's in front of you. Obviously, this vehicle able to move safely, but some flooding on the feeder roads there that was not too deep for drivers to pass through. We showed you that just a little while ago. If you see something like this, send it to news@abc13.com, and we'll definitely get it on the air there. But
Fortunately, through all of this, the severity of it, we have not seen any injuries, no reports so far from any of these areas that were hit so hard by this storm already of anyone getting hurt. So it seems like people are heeding the warnings.
Yeah, certainly moved all across the state of Texas all night long. It began in the west here in San Antonio. There was a lot of rain overnight as well, I should say, in San Antonio. Got a lot of rain overnight, dumped heavy rains on the air. Look at the flooding that it caused in some areas of San Antonio. There were a number of cars that were stalled out. You see people wading through high water, reminiscent of Houston 2 weeks ago. That's actually San Antonio this morning, where a number of people got trapped in the waters. So far, San Antonio Airport has recorded nearly 3 inches of rain in just the past several hours. Although the worst of it appears to be over in San Antonio, they're still checking some flooded out cars at this